إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you know, these English lectures are themed with the title of Imam Hussain, the teacher and the guide. And we've been giving these English lectures throughout myself, Brother Farhan, and Brother Walid. So it's a quick lecture, it's not, and of course I want to mention again that this is a lecture, it's not a majlis, so I want to always differentiate that so nobody's, disappointed that we should all know what we're expecting. So that's why I want to make it clear that this is, it's a lecture to learn from Imam Hussain, and it's basically these lectures are geared more towards the younger audiences, like Nakash, like Uzaid, like Rufi. Oh, I don't think he's here today. Huh? Like Ashar Ali, and like Muhammad Ali, and what's your name? Sian. Abbas. Yeah. And Zuhair Abbas and Zaim Ali. Yeah, so all those kids, basically. So they also, because of course, they understand English and they don't understand the Urdu, the Lucknow Urdu of the Maulana. I don't understand the Lucknow Urdu of the Maulana. So it's hard. So for the young people, we have to make sure that they understand and they also get the message of Imam Hussain. So with that, today's lecture is about the wisdom of Imam Hussain. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So what is the wisdom? Wisdom, we have to define what wisdom is. Just so we know what we're talking about. What is wisdom? The wisdom is the ability to use knowledge and experience to make good decisions and judgment. Right? So it's when you use knowledge. Right, Nakash? Yeah. It's when you use knowledge, that's what wisdom is. When you use what your knowledge is, what you learned, when you use it, and from your experience, plus you make a good judgment based on your knowledge and your experience, this is the wisdom, right? And how do we differentiate wisdom? Like, what's the difference between wisdom and knowledge? So the basic difference between wisdom and knowledge is that knowledge, anyone can have the knowledge, right? Anyone can have the knowledge. Anybody can know. You already know. What grade are you, Nakash? What grade are you? Eighth grade, right? Very good. So in 8th grade, you already know how to read. You know how to write. You know mathematics. So you know stuff. But is just knowing just enough? That's the question we have to ask. Anybody can know things. Anybody can research things. Anybody can memorize facts. We have a lot of people, they memorize the Quran, right? They become hafiz. But what's the point if they're not practicing what they memorized? Right? If they did not practice what they memorized, what's the point of their memorizing the whole Quran? You memorize the whole Quran, but you don't practice even one page of it, then that's not wisdom, right? Also, I'll give you an example of wisdom. People know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And how many Muslims are there in the world? There's 1.9 billion Muslims in the world. So we can say 2 billion Muslims in the world. They know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But does those 2 billion people have the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do they have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do they have the consciousness to always keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their mind, so that all their actions and all their daily activity is based on the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching them? No, right? 2 billion people, but not everybody has the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you know Allah, but you didn't use that knowledge, unfortunately, right? And we know, we're also not immune from that. We also have to improve our taqwa. I'm also admonishing myself. But so that's the wisdom. It's not just to know, but to practice what you know, to implement what you know. That's the wisdom. And of course, Imam Hussain is the embodiment of all wisdom. He is wisdom itself. Everything about Imam Hussain is wisdom. And for that matter, all the Imams, the 12 Imams. Starting, of course, from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we'll go through some of the steps, some of the examples of where Imam Hussain now uses his wisdom. The first, we know that, when this started, and I mentioned this whole story from the beginning to the end briefly before, but right in the beginning, Yazid, Lanatullah, he orders, that people, the Imam Hussain, pay allegiance to him. He wants the submission of Imam Hussain. And he orders the governor of Medina to take allegiance from Imam Hussain right away. Right? He tells them, come right away. And it's like the middle of the night, and the Imam is like, caught in the middle. Like, why is the governor... Imagine the governor of New Jersey calls you that you have to show up to the governor in Trenton at 4 a.m. tonight. It's an order. It came for you in the mail. It says, Moeen Ahmed, living on Carteret, show up to the governor house in Trenton at 4 a.m. Signed by the governor. So what's going to happen to me now? I'm going to first have to go to the hospital. Right? I'll be so nervous. What happened? What did I do? Why am I being called at 4 a.m.? What mistake did I make? This is what I'll be thinking. But of course, Imam Hussain is full of wisdom. He knows why he's being called. He knows what the governor wants from him. And so he tells the governor, he goes there with his family, Hazrat Abbas, and you know the story. And he tells the governor, a person like me should not pay allegiance secretly. If you want, you can call all the people in the public and ask every one of us to have a voice, one voice, so that it's in front of everybody. And the governor agrees with Imam Hussain, like, yeah, that's right. Like, why should we, why am I gonna give allegiance in the dark in 4 a.m. when the sun has not even come out? This is not the way things are done. So he agrees, but there's a bad guy over there that tells the governor, no, we should get it right now. His name was Marwan. And he tells them, if Imam Hussain, if Imam leaves, you do not get the allegiance, you will not have any power to get it again from him. So you better get it right now, he tells the governor, that bad guy. So then Imam Hussain says, whoever of you kills me will be the sinful one. Now Imam Hussain is replying to what the governor, after listening to that bad guy and demanding it again, now Imam Hussain raises his voice. And when he raises his voice, it's a signal to Hazrat Abbas to come inside too. This is the wisdom of Imam Hussain, where he, instead of confronting and making a big problem right there, he had a method of signaling Hazrat Abbas. And you all know about Hazrat Abbas, how strong Hazrat Abbas is. So he signals him by just raising his voice a little bit. And he tells this governor of Medina that's following the orders of Yazid, he tells him that Yazid is a drunkard who kills people without any reason. Yazid is on the wrong path. He's doing the wrong things. And he tells him this phrase, that a person like me cannot pay allegiance to a person like him. And this phrase is very important, because this phrase clearly defines what the Imam is trying to say. And he's saying very bluntly that I do not have a problem with the problem is not personal. This is not a personal problem of Yazid and Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain here made it clear that this is not a personal problem between him and Yazid. But the whole institution of truth and haqq cannot pay allegiance to the institution of falsehood and batil. So this is this is bigger than just one person and the other person. This is not a personal problem. This is a divine formula that false and evil cannot be mixed. Falsehood can never be accepted, right? Falsehood can never be justified in any way. There's a clear line. You're either on one side or you're on the other. You cannot have both. You cannot be in the middle. There's no middle ground here. You cannot say, oh, maybe okay, it's okay. No. Imam Hussain at that point defined that what is right and what is wrong. They cannot be mixed. You cannot be on both sides. There's no neutral area when it comes to the truth and when it comes to falsehood. You have to be on the side of truth. You have to be on the side of haqq. You have to be on the side of the Prophet and his message. You cannot be on the side of falsehood. There's no neutrality. There's no gray area. There's no, but okay, what if we say this, but it's okay, like, in the middle, we're okay. No, you're not okay. There's no okay in the middle. You have to be on one side or the other. You cannot, and that was the wisdom of Imam Hussain when he said, a person like me cannot pay allegiance to a person like him. You see? So this was a very important and clear message that falsehood and the truth cannot be mixed together. There's no gray area here. Truth will always remain the truth, and falsehood will always remain falsehood for all of time. It doesn't matter. From that time, some people say, oh, at that time it was different. Oh, today is different. No. No. Stealing was wrong back then, and stealing is wrong today. Is that right? Killing somebody innocent back then was wrong. Killing somebody innocent today is wrong. Is that right? So you cannot have cheating at that time was wrong. Cheating today is wrong. It can never be, there's no gray area of that, okay? All right, so the second point, the wisdom of Imam Hussain to take everybody with him. Why did Imam Hussain take his whole family? People ask, why did he take his whole family? Well, there's an African proverb or saying. It says, it takes a village to raise a child. Everybody has heard this saying? It takes a village to raise a child. And somewhere in the internet it said, Hillary Clinton used this in her book. I don't know why it said that, but anyway. I never read that book, but she used it, I guess. It said, it takes a village to raise a child. And this means that an entire community of people must provide for and interact positively with the children, for those children to experience and grow in a safe and healthy environment, right? We know from our children that it takes the whole community. It takes all of us to have this, Sunday school or the Saturday school. It takes the parents. It takes the administration of the masjid. It takes the school. Everybody has to work together to make sure that the children are doing the right thing. So, just to use that example, the child here is the Muslim Ummah, right? The Muslim Ummah of that time, at that time, was going in the wrong direction, was going on the backward path, back to the Jahalat, where the grandfather of Imam Hussain, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, where his grandfather worked so hard to rescue them from the darkness. He took them from out of the darkness into the light, as the Maulana has been mentioning in his majalises about Noor, right? He's been mentioning that Noor is the light and the right, and the darkness is the wrong. And this is a verse in the Quran too, that Allah brings you out of the darkness into the light. So this is what the Prophet did, and this is what the Prophet worked so hard for. But now the Muslim Ummah is going backwards into the jahalat, back to the darkness. And Imam Hussain has to fix this. And so he takes his whole family with him. He takes his whole family. So that the Muslim Ummah can never go back to this darkness. And the whole family has a role, right? That every person in the family had a role. And so we know that now, if you look at the father role, that's, we can say it's Imam Hussain. I'm giving an example for the kids. The father, who's the father? Imam Hussain. The mother, we have many mothers in Karbala, right? We have Zainab Salamullahi alayha. We have Layla, right? We have other mothers there. But the major mother that the example that we know is Layla, right? The mother of Ali Akbar. And so who's the son? Ali Akbar. That's right. Ali Akbar, Ali Asghar. Qasim, yeah, the son. The daughter. Who's the daughter? Sakina, thank you. The little Sakina. The brother, Hazrat Abbas. The sister, Hazrat Zainab. The uncle. Who's the uncle? Hazrat Abbas, the uncle, right? He's the brother, he's the uncle of Sakina. The friends. Habib ibn Mazahir, Zuhair ibn Khan, right? We have a lot of friends there of Imam Hussain. And then we have the old and the young. We have the age groups. Who's the old? Habib ibn Mazahir, Burair al-Hamdani, old man, right? We have the servant. Who is the servant? Hazrat John, Hazrat Fizza. We have the one who comes back to the path, who goes astray, but comes back. Who's that? Hazrat Hur. We have the young kids, Qasim, On, and Muhammad. And we even have the baby. Who's the baby? Ali Asghar. So we have everybody. We have the whole family. Right? We have from the baby to the grandfather, every age group. Every personality is there in Karbala. So there's a wisdom in that everyone is there. Every relationship is there. So now every one of you, every one of us has to find their Karbala. We have no excuse. We have excuse made that, oh, we have little children. Imam Hussain had little children. Oh, I just had a baby. Imam Hussain had a baby. Oh, I just got married. There was a person in Karbala who just got married. Exactly. Oh, I'm too old. There's no excuse. I'm a lady. I'm not a lady, but. So the Imam Hussain, by taking everyone, put everyone on the line. Now there's no excuse for anybody. There's no excuse. Imam Hussain laid the foundation that when the time comes for sacrifice, you have to make the sacrifice. That's it. We know that when time for our Karbala comes, we have to answer the call. We cannot have any excuse. And this is to get us ready for our Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. There's also the wisdom of Lady Zainab. I just want to mention quickly that Lady Zainab had a wisdom to her, right? The sister of Imam Hussain. Her wisdom, what was her wisdom? When the captives were finally freed in Syria, she demands that they be given a house so they can properly grieve. Excuse me. And we are continuing in her tradition on this first Azah, which became an institution of learning, right? This here, what we're doing, is from the wisdom of Lady Zainab. Salamullahi alayha. This, what we're doing right here, you sitting here, you listening to me, this is her wisdom in action. So this is, we have to take lesson from that. We are actually the result of somebody's wisdom. We are the result of that wisdom that happened 1400 years ago. And that wisdom was so strong that it's still going, and it's going to keep going until the day of judgment. Number 3, the question that made Karbala eternal and live forever. I have 4, so I think I'm on number 3, so we're getting there. On the day of Ashura, when Imam Hussain was left alone on the battlefield of Karbala, he looked at the sky and he said, Hal min nasirin yansuruna. The translation of that is there anyone to help me? This message of Karbala kept Karbala alive forever until the day of judgment. This call is still alive, and the Imam's call for help should be heard by us. And we should do everything we can to answer this plea of help from the Imam. We have to ask the question, how can we help the Imam? This question, is there anyone to help me, was the wisdom of Imam Hussain for all ages, from that day of Karbala till the day of Qiyamah. Is there anyone to help me? That question is for me, for you, for the kids, for the ladies, for the grandfather, for everybody. That question is still alive. Every day, that question is still there. Is there anyone to help me? And we have to help, do what we can to help. Then there's the role of Ali Asghar. Where is the wisdom of Ali and Asghar? Even the baby had to answer this call. Is there anyone to help me? The 6-month-old baby, which was the Hujjat, he was the Hujjat, as the Maulana has mentioned in his majlis. So now if a 6-month-old baby can answer the call, what about us? The 6-month-old was also a Hujjat on the army of the Zalimeen. That could have made an excuse in the battlefield, right? That that they were killing the army of Imam Hussain. But what did Ali and Asghar do? Ali and Asghar became a Hujjat. So now nobody can say that, oh, this was a battle and we killed the other side in the battle. There was no battle with a 6-month-old. Ali Asghar proved to the world that the brainwashed Muslim army of Yazid was there to kill the family of the Prophet, period. There was no reason for 32,000 soldiers to kill 72 people, who included the children and the very old and the very young, and to burn their tents with the women and children. This will be considered in today's terms a war crime against humanity, according to the World Court. So there was a wisdom of Ali Asghar, to take Ali Asghar with him. This Ali Asghar became the Hujjah. He is Babul Hawaij for a reason. There is a reason why he was there. And then number 4, Imam Hussain says, and this is the last point, I think. Yeah. Imam Hussain says, do you not see the truth being practiced and the falsehood is not being avoided, so that a believer may be eager to meet the Lord? And Imam Hussain says, I have taken this stand not out of arrogance or pride, neither out of mischief or injustice. I have risen to seek reformation in the community of my grandfather. I would like to bid good and forbid the evil, and follow the tradition of my grandfather and my father Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Imam Hussain here, by saying that he's seeking reform of the community, he's saying why he's doing what he's doing. This is, again, the wisdom for all time that Imam Hussain mentions, that he's not going to fight. He's not there to fight for power or fight for money or fight for position. He says, I'm going to reform the ummah, right? I'm going to reform the ummah of my grandfather. And all I seek is to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. In the Quran, we have to go back to the Quran, because we all know that Imam Hussain and all the Ahlul Bayt are the walking Quran. In the Quran, in Surah 5, verse 79, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they did not prevent each other from committing sins. What does he say? They did not prevent each other from committing sins, nor would they themselves stay away from them. Sins. Evil was what they had done. So Allah is saying that those people who do not prevent each other from committing sins are doing something bad too. Right? The saying, Amru bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar. What does that mean? That means enjoin the good and forbid the evil. This is one divine formula. You cannot take this formula apart. Just like there's a formula, for example, for the kids, 2 plus 2 equals 4. I cannot take 1, 2 out of it and then say 2 plus 0 equals 4. Right? And another example I can give is this formula, Amru bil Ma'ruf, is like 1 rakat. And Nahi anil Munkar is the other rakat of the same namaz. You cannot have one without the other. You cannot do the easy thing and say, okay, I'm enjoining the good. The good is very easy to do. Everybody do good. Okay, very good. Talian. You cannot just say that. You have to also forbid the evil, which is the hard thing to do. When you forbid the evil, that's when you get into trouble. That's the hard thing. But Imam Hussain here sacrificed his life and the life of every one of his family on this principle, that not only did he enjoy the good, but he forbid the evil. And he paid a heavy price for that. And we have to understand that we cannot just do one thing and leave the other. We cannot just say we are enjoying the good, but we do not forbid the evil. We have to stand up against evil. We have to stand up against injustice. We have to raise our voice against the zulm in Gaza. We have to raise our voice against the zulm in Kashmir. We have to raise our voice against the zulm anywhere and everywhere. Where the zulm is anywhere, whether it's in our community or outside, we have to raise the voice. We cannot just say, oh no, we're enjoying the good. We do a lot of good activities. So what? So what that you do good activities? That's the easy thing. Nobody asked you to do the easy thing. Imam Hussain didn't come to do the easy things. We did not come here for 10 days to learn the easy things. We're not here to do the easy things. We're here to do the hard things. We have to learn how to do the hard things. We have to learn how to take up the challenge. We have to be strong. We cannot just do the easy thing and say, oh, okay, that's it, we did our job. No. Amru bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar. Enjoy the good. Enjoin the good and forbid the evil. This one formula. You cannot separate it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us and our kids to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the appearance of Imam of time, Imam Mahdi, and to lead us to justice and peace all over the world. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.